Hey, this is Marilyn Gigliotti.
Hey, this is Brian O'Halloran.
Hey, everybody. My name is Scott Schiaffo, actor best known as the Chulies Gum Guy from the film Clerks.
And welcome to Clerks Minute.
You're listening to Clerks Minute.
And I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Hi, this is Mike Zapsik from AMC's Comic Book Man, the podcast I Sell Comics, and the Ming and Mike Show. And you're listening to Clerks Minute. What's up, everybody? This is Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Man. You got a minute? Good, because you're listening to Clerks Minute.
Hey, this is Walt Flanagan, the Lon Chaney of the 90s, and you are listening to Clerks Minute.
Welcome back to Clerks Minute, where we're looking back at the 2006 Kevin Smith sequel, Clerks 2, Randal's great idea, minutes at a time. I'm Blake.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Matt.
And, hey Matt, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, glad to be back.
Yes, and unlike last year when I was pulling a rib on Kyle, we're all here together! Yay!
Yeah, well, and the problem was last year, I didn't fully prepare myself. I thought I was going to be able to remember it, and I didn't. This time I actually watched it like an hour ago, so that should be good.
That works. And for those who don't know, we watch them right before we record ourselves. So we watch them right before, so it's fresh in our memories. So, well, you got some good minutes. And this is not even on purpose. This is one of those things that kind of landed the way they did, and you got some great minutes here.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're still in the jail. We're almost done at the jail, people. I promise. We're almost done. I feel like we've been here for a while. And this is the problem with sometimes in Kevin Smith movies. We have like literally 10 to 12 minute scenes in one location, and that's the problem sometimes.
Well, it's just very dialogue heavy. That's why.
It really is. This is huge dialogue heavy. Yeah. Because now we're at the culmination of what's been a crazy argument between Randal and Dante. Dante, here we go. Oh, yeah, what's that? You obviously have such a great handle on your life. Tell me what you would do if you were in my position, or even what you would do in your position. Swing that judgmental pendulum the other way and tell me how you would solve all your problems, asshole. What the fuck would the great Randal Graves do if he were half the master of his destiny that I'm supposed to be?
I'd buy the quick stop and reopen it myself.
This is the moment that kind of changed everything. It's a great moment. And
and someone actually pointed out on TV Tropes, if you look at Randal's face, it looks like even he just had that epiphany. It's like it wasn't something that had been brewing in his mind. That was just...
Or was it in the back of his head all this time? That's another question I'm also thinking. Was it in the back of his head all this time?
I don't know.
Like, he always wanted to do this, but he's lazy. We all know he's lazy, and he doesn't really want to be in front of everything, so maybe he had it in the back of his mind. Yeah. Dante pushed it out of him, and here we are. Matt, what do you think?
Well, I think, to some extent I agree with you. For the thing, too, is he always associates his life at the quick stop as basically like the worst moments, probably, because it was when he didn't have his life together, or when he didn't think his life was really together. He was just kind of pushed into always working, like as the first Clerks was. I'm not even supposed to be here today. He's always being pushed into doing shifts that he doesn't want to do. So he didn't probably think about, well, you could be your own boss and own the quick stop and just do it as much as you want to do. And that was never a thought, but it's still like happy times because he was with his best friend, and he wouldn't be abandoning him to a new life that he doesn't really want.
Yeah, it's true. We'll get more into that in a minute. What I do appreciate is we were talking about on the last episode where we go to Bob and Bob doesn't have anything, and the whole point of that was Kevin said it's in the commentary track. That he wanted Randal to have his moment. Randal did not get his moment in the first movie. Yeah. Or he wanted Randal to have his moment. He didn't want them to always rely on Silent Bob like they do in other VSQ movies. Which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. This is good for Randal's character. Just to have this moment of realization.
And quite honestly, okay, what was I going to say?
You have to keep on.
Well, for me, Kyle's thinking what his response was to that. I mean, my point, too, is, like, through the whole entire thing, it always shows, like, Dante has, maybe not his life fully together, but, like, this whole Clerks 2, it's like he's got a future ahead of him, he's going to have a family, he's going to have all this going on for him, and Randall is kind of sitting there as, like, well, the 40-year-old virgin who isn't going anywhere, living in his mom's basement, basically. And it's like, it's kind of now showing Randall has ideas and good, forward thinking of what he wants to do with his life. So it now shows that, yeah, Randall isn't completely useless and not completely, like, not with his life together and having these ideas for his future. He actually does have those.
He just keeps them to himself more than anything else.
I think it's just more of like a subconscious fear of failure.
It's true. That might be it. You're absolutely right. That might just be exactly what it is. He doesn't want to put himself out there and then be like, well, I had this great idea, but what if it doesn't work? So why am I going to bother to say
And now I remember what I was going to say. Oh. Now Dante could be the one who goes off to Vermont on short notice.
I don't see Dante doing that, but it's funny. It's a very funny reference to the first movie. Well, then we cut back, and they have this great idea. And, well, to Dante's credit, he didn't completely shoot it down. Yeah. But he makes a valid point. They don't have the money.
Actually, it was worth it just to see that look on his face like, holy shit.
I didn't think of that. I did not think of that.
No, it's more like, well, I think it's a cross if I didn't think of that, and this came out of his mouth?
Exactly. We were saying. It's one of those, what? Randall thought of this? But my whole thing with here is that, here's a valid point. They don't have the money. It's $50,000. That's a lot of money at all, period. It doesn't make a difference what year you're in. That's a lot of money.
They could do a Walter White and go into selling crystal meth.
Wow. So, neither one of them had this kind of money. And then it kind of is almost like they hit a wall. Like, you're right. You're absolutely right. And then Jay pops in with, we do? Yeah. Like, oh yeah, they do have money. They do have the money.
Nice subtle reference to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
I was just going to say the exact same thing. Not only are they putting over the fact that they make a lot of money on the street, but they put over the money they made
from Blunt Man and Chronic.
Yep. Perfect. And that's absolutely perfect. If you don't know about that, that's a great reference to a movie that if you don't know the reference, you're just watching the movie for the first time. This is your first VSQ movie. You're like, where did they get this money from?
Well, there's also another little reference. If you look at Jay's jacket, one of the things on it says "Justice TLF."
What does that mean?
Justice, True Love, Forever.
Oh yeah. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
But no, that was a great. It's like I remember watching this for the first time. Like, oh shit! Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of find it funny because it's like, saying, yeah, we have it. It's also, even though it's a reference, it also kind of shows like, oh, I guess they didn't just waste their money because stereotypically, people who may sell drugs have decent lives, but if you're peddling on the street, you probably are just spending it as quickly as you're earning it. This is actually showing like they got a bunch of money, but they actually didn't waste it.
Well, aside from making the trip around the country to basically beat up the people who insulted them.
Yes, that's true. Although also, the point made at the top of the movie that we talked about at the very beginning of the movie, that Jay's sober in this movie. So they're not spending the money they normally would spend on drugs. They don't have to. They're not buying all the drugs for themselves. So that's important information, too. They're making a profit, this movie, unlike in the last movie.
This time they're not getting high off their own supply.
Exactly. They're actually making a profit, which is something they didn't do. And we also, and I made this point earlier in the movie to you, we've seen them make sales in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, they made a very good point of showing that they are making sales, which is something they did not do in the first movie.
They are automatically smarter than Tony Montana that way.
So Randall actually is good, and he asks him, would you guys be willing to lend us some money so that we can reopen the stores? Jay, normally it would be a Silent Bob thing. As we learned in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, normally this is a Silent Bob moment, where negotiations happen, you bring out Silent Bob. Yeah. Not in this case. Which, again, I really thought this is where Bob was going to step in the first time I started the movie. But Jay goes and says, on two conditions. One, we can hang out in front of the store anytime we want, and you can't call the cops.
Fair.
Completely valid. 100% fair. That has been their argument in the animated series. Yeah. That has been their argument every single movie. Yeah. All we want to do is hang out. That's it. That's all we want. That's all we really ever wanted to begin with. Fair. But then number 2. and when you say a line that even makes Silent Bob look at you like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's what this moment is.
This is one of those where you just wonder, how long did it take him to put this line down? Or, just come up with it and then put it down.
Because really, all this is playing off. It's a kind of callback to this movie, too. I didn't realize that was being said. Then 2, you have to blow each other and to watch. Then you have to go ass to mouth.
And Bob is just looking at him like, are you sure you're completely sober there, buddy?
What the fuck is he thinking on this one? Like, what the fuck? Come on here.
And that's
too much.
Yeah.
And that's when the deleted scenes come in great, because Bob at one point after he says, what's your solution to everything? Pussy. You are a gay man in deep denial.
I forgot about that deleted scene. That's hysterical.
Which,
I forgot about that.
That whole thing with, just to really interject, Jay's whole thing with going into the kind of like
erotic?
Yeah, that's actually the word, yeah. Homoerotic kind of aspect with Guy on Guy is kind of more of a reference back to Dogma, where they started kind of mentioning that whole thing about how he's kind of into guys. They mentioned that in there, in Dogma with, what was it, one of the 13th Apostle, I think it was. Mention that?
Right. I haven't seen the movie in a long time. I have to watch it back again. I haven't. Just haven't watched it in a while. I've been popped in for a long time.
But I think it was in there where they kind of like introduced that kind of concept for Jay's character that he is in denial about it. He doesn't like go out of his way, and he keeps on talking about how he wants to be with women, but it's kind of there in his character that he's probably not really as interested in women as he claims to be.
A valid point.
But going back to the whole thing, though, I think, I agree with you. It's like I was kind of expecting Silent Bob to introduce himself with the negotiations as well, but I think at the same time, it wanted to be more on Jay's character, kind of like how it was Randall's time to shine. I think it was kind of Jay's time to shine, too, with good ideas. And I think Silent Bob wanted to give him that opportunity, and you saw, of course, Silent Bob even jumped in when he was like, I don't quite agree with this negotiation here.
What I was saying, that's why, you know what, Kevin Smith is never given the credit he deserves for how brilliantly he does play Silent Bob, especially in this movie, because it's just the little looks like, really? What the fuck?
It takes an incredible amount of talent to express emotion and pretty much dialogue through not saying a damn thing at all.
And it's not even hand motions, it's more facial expressions, more than anything else. He's never given enough credit. He really never is. So Jay's very serious about this, and Jay's serious when he's actually not making a sex joke now. Yeah. He's actually now at this point being like, okay, I'm done joking around. We're being dead serious about this. Yeah. And Dante and pretty much looks at Dante, and he says it kind of makes sense. That's why we spent so much time at that store, and why college or anything else never panned out for us. And think about it, man. You and me running our business instead of working for some other asshole. And that's where we end our minutes. And you were jumping in with me on this.
I was going to say, and let's be quite honest. I think at this point, working at a convenience store would actually be a lot more acceptable if you actually owned the place and ran it.
True.
I mean, it wouldn't be nearly as pathetic.
It's true. It does make you look better if you own the store. It does make it look a lot better. Because you could say, yeah, I work here, but I own it. Yeah. That does sound better, especially in your 30s.
Yeah, versus saying, like, I'm a cashier at McDonald's. It kind of does have a better, ring when you're going to your next high school reunion being like, yeah, I own this business, versus, I just work here.
Actually, not even own the business. They own two businesses, technically, because they're opening up the video store, too. Yeah. So technically, they own two businesses.
And a lot of people are saying, well, it's a video store, so it's going to go bust. No, we have family video here. And
not even that. I'll go ahead, because Matt won't be here for those minutes. And I think it's either going to be a Ming on or for the final segment. You can see DVDs on the shelves. Yeah. They actually have a box that says DVDs, just to actually clarify that point that was made. Yeah, it's a video store in name only, but they'll be selling DVDs and other stuff.
But even then, they're reporting at things like Blockbuster and that, and no, Family Video is still up and running, and they still get...
True. I agree.
So yeah, if they play their cards right...
You could actually make, as you made very clear just now, you could make an old school video store or DVD place still relevant now as a kind of a family-run place or an independent-run place. It's the corporate places that are going out.
And let's be quite honest, Netflix and Redbox are great, but sometimes just